Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. We are in the middle of our silence retreat, encouraging everyone to relax the body, enjoy the breath, quieten the mind. And with the mind quiet, begin to introspect. Get to know what is happening in the mind. Be more authentic and deep. Shift from introspection to detection. Identify one of your strengths and one of your weaknesses. Just one strength and one weakness. Be more authentic and deep. Shift from detection to negation. Think about the one weakness and the effect this is having on you and those you interact with. If you're easily irritable, what harm that causes you and those around you. Be more authentic and deep and shift from negation to substitution. Whatever weakness you zoomed into, what is the opposite strength? If the vice is irritability, then the virtue would be endurance. Now commit to this substitution. That today, this week, this month, this year, you will invest in this substitution. Stretch, exhale, open your eyes. Meaningful Mornings is a visceral experience. As you can see, visceral. Visceral experience in changing through being active with our intention. Another word for that is guna. And infusing this in our implementation. Another word for this is karma. We change our inclination. Another word for this is varna. Investing in the Navagraha is us trying to change our context. This is a losing investment, which is why we chant Vakratunda Mahakaya. Mahakaya means the great body. When you think of an elephant, you may casually use the word an elephant is fat, but an elephant is not fat. An elephant is well proportioned. Mahakaya, when one looks at Bhagavan Ganesha's body, it is not fat, it is round, it is well proportioned. Inside Bhagavan Ganesha is this multiverse. That means we are living in Bhagavan. And so, the message is not to change the context, but to change the content. Specifically, if I'm living in Bhagavan, then I can't be the deserver. And when I start to change that, I start to feel I can't be the doer. At most, I can be the instrument. If I'm living in Bhagavan, that means I'm an instrument of Bhagavan. This is the best way you can help yourself, by changing your content. Chapter 14 is most clear about this. In verses 14 and 15, Shri Krishna is sharing, if we change, this is what our future will be like. He shares this in a macro way. In verse 16, he shares, if you change, this is what your future will be like in a micro way. Macro, your next birth. Micro, your next result. In verse 17, Shri Krishna is sharing, if you change, this is what your present will be. And he shares this in a macro way. If you change and become more quiet, this is what you will feel today. I'm reading an insight from Pujya Swami Chinmayananda. From sattva arises wisdom. Remember, I told you this is a famous quarter. Sattva sanjayate jnanam. It has already been explained how pure consciousness of its own accord has nothing to illumine or understand. In the pure homogeneous self, there is nothing other than itself for it to understand. It being the undivided and indivisible one eternal truth. Consciousness reflected in the subtle body is the intelligence by which we gain knowledge of the world outside. The knower is the spirit conditioned by the mind intellect. Naturally, when the mind is pure and serene, when there is the least agitation in it, the light emerging through it is steady and properly focused. Therefore, the result of the predominant sattva in our mind is ultimately the rediscovery of the self, the experience of pure wisdom. Pujya Swami Chinmayananda is a big thinker and a big speaker. And so if I can make this smaller, sattva, that which is like sat, is integrity. Integrity is the catalyst to infinity. And for those who are paying authentic and deep attention, Shri Krishna is not sharing that sattva is chit. Chit means awareness. He's saying sattva is jnana, or knowledge. Knowledge implies duality. The knower and the knowing. Sattva is still a guna or a limit. Whereas chit or awareness, that is oneness. There is no knower. There's no knowing. There is only being. That's what sattva does. What about raja? Raja, or aggressiveness, is when one is thinking about how can I be helped? Aggressiveness, I'd share different expressions of this, is attachment, is greed. In our community, we have initiated a new team. This started in January, called the Diverse Growth Team. We're exploring how to use TikTok. We're exploring how to create LinkedIn courses. And the team was asking me recently, what is the vision of this team? And I had shared how we can help people be happy on their own terms. Yes, how we can help people. That's how we get out of Raja, not thinking about how people can help me, but how I can help others. And Tama, Shri Krishna shares, pramada, moha, ajnana. He keeps sharing this sequence. Sharing with you again, pramada means carelessness. We just want to be Tejomayananda shared. It's where you don't remember what to do, and so you don't do it. Whereas moha, or confusion, is where you remember what to do, and you don't do it. One is ignorance, one is negligence. So how are you changing? Sattva, Raja, Tama. Shri Krishna is sharing again, if you change, this is what your present will be like. He goes from a macro narrative to a micro one. Verse 18. Urdvam gachanti sattvastaha, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, jaganya gunavrittistaha, ado gachanti tamasaha. Joy. I'm going to read the translation, then I'll break this up for us. Those who are abiding in sattva go upwards. The rajasikas dwell in the middle, and the tamasikas, abiding in the function of the lowest guna, go downwards. There's your translation. Now we start to open this up. Sattvastaha. You've heard this before. What chapter did you hear this in? Chapter 2. I've used this statement many times. Nitya sattva staha bhavarjuna. Be established in sattva. Now Shri Krishna is sharing, if you are, your lifestyle and vision is that of quietness, what will happen? Urdhva. Urdhva gacha. One will move upwards. One will feel uplifted here and now. If you feel inspired, that is sattva. Comparatively, rajasaha, those who are changing to become aggressive, madhya tishtanti. They don't go upwards. They stay or stand in the middle. They're neutral. They don't evolve. See the change in the words? Gacha means to go. Tishta means to stand. Finally, jaganya gunavritti staha. When one's lifestyle and vision is towards the lowest guna, that is tamasaha, adha gachanti. And I think a better word than gachanti here is patanti. One falls lower. Are you changing? Here's how you know. You're going upwards, you feel inspired. Raja, you're aging. The day flows, but there's no feeling behind it. That is standing in the middle. And if you're changing towards a laziness, you fall, you devolve, where one feels dejected. I'll add some more reflective points here. I was sharing that this is how we will feel in the present, in the micro, while you're awake, right here, right now. If you're changing to become more sattvic, all that you experience, you're more interested in. If you're changing towards becoming rajasic, all that you experience, you're more bored with. And if you're changing to become more lazy, all that you experience, there's a dullness with which you experience. Are you an interested person, or a bored person, or a dull person? That's while you're awake. Now about sleeping. If you're changing to become more quiet, your sleep is measured by depth. When you sleep deeply, like a child. If you're changing to become aggressive, your sleep is not measured by depth, but length. And most of psychology measures sleep by length. You should sleep this many hours a day. See, in psychology, that notion of sattva, raja, tamas, those divinity in details are not explored. And if you're changing to become lazy, your sleep is broken. You sleep, you don't sleep, you sleep, you don't sleep. Now, many may be thinking the broken sleep or the long sleep is due to physiology. I would say a fraction of that is true. The main reason why our sleep is broken or we have to sleep for so long is our psychology, that our minds are not quiet. We keep thinking about what happened today and yesterday. And so I shared with the seeker who's joining us right now, she was telling me about the struggle she's going through. And I had shared with her, you will be a more interested person while you're awake, and you will have deeper sleep at night if you know your responsibilities and then follow them without complaining, blaming, or annotating. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was to begin talking to 10 different people about the difference between IQ and EQ. How many of you have started? I've started doing this with 250 people a day. When you talk about this, you will have more clarity and you will make this a priority, your emotional intelligence. Your application for this morning is whatever you thought about, you did this in your mind, introspection, detection, negation, substitution. I want you to write it out now. Put it on paper. Shanti, shanti, shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.